Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the tangle Takefive from CZT Annett Ruempler. If you immediately toss the tangle or the tile, if you immediately got a tune in your head, yeah, me too. And if you don't, take a look at the For More Inspiration link. And Linda has a link to that on her Tangle Patterns page. It's a great tune by Dave Brubeck. All right. So this starts out, as you can probably imagine, it starts out with a shape, a 5 shape. And if I break that down into elemental strokes, we have a straight line connected to another straight line at like a 90-degree angle, right? Everybody knows how to draw a 5. Well, I take that back. Maybe not. And then a big curve line going into a bit of a spiral, and then you can put a little orb at the end of it. I do like to break things down into those elemental strokes because there's a reason why we have them. And if you think of it that way, then the next step may be a little bit easier because we're going to draw it the opposite direction. Or it could be a weird, because a 5 is, S and 5 are the same direction. Never mind. A 2 shape, maybe. It will be a really weird 2 shape. 2 goes the opposite direction. All right, so we're going to start here with that little line, okay? And however you have things lined up to you, and no matter what happens, it's going to be amazing anyway. But again, take a look at the For More Inspiration link so you can see how Annett has done it. And then, like I said, thinking of the elemental strokes, I know that kind of helps because then we're doing a curve line the opposite direction into a bit of a spiral, ending up with a little orb. And you're just going to continue to alternate these. And going slow helps. I will say that. And also, I found focusing on, the straight line, but it's kind of lined up. The end of it is somewhat lined up with, where this goes into the curlicue, this little spiral there. And I found that was helping me to focus. Now, again, don't worry about how things line up or don't line up. It'll turn out wonderful no matter what. Okay. Then, from here, we're going to extend. Think of takeoff and land. We're going to extend that top line and go around, essentially auraing this, and then coming back, into here. And actually, on Annett's step out, it looked like, because she had the little dot or small orb, however you want to think about it. It looked as a last step, but at the same time, it didn't look like she was necessarily tracing over, but you could. So I just added it into the first step because I thought that for me, that was easier. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come out, essentially auraing, and then coming back, and again, tracing over a little bit. If you want to just retrace over, and end up on that ball, that's okay. If that works better for you, great. I keep having mine come down a little bit further than I want. It's okay. I'd like to have it merge in a little sooner, but that's where sometimes we say, oh, your take on this, or everybody's take on something is different. And I'm almost going to contend sometimes it's just your hand. Sometimes our hand, it's like, well, that's just how my hand wants to do it, so that's what it's going to do, and it's consistent in that. So all right, because it's like I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm going to have it be like this. Not at all. So if you so this is something that before Zentangle, still even, when I look at other art and even other people's tangles and what they do, I was like, how did you think to just put that there? But a lot of times, maybe it's just not thinking. It's just like, oh, I'm going to put this here. And it just comes. So that's one neat thing that has come out of Zentangle. And what's interesting is now that I haven't looked at it because I was yapping, you barely see the 5s anymore. You really have to look. Next step is on these little ends, the squared off end, we're going to put an orb-ish. Like this is the beginning, this is the end. And then a little filled in orb in the center. I combined these two. Sometimes I like to and actually Annette had them combined as well. Just because it's like otherwise the step out becomes just a little too long. And if it's like, okay, we can see that. I've done some where I separate out steps because it's there'll be steps in two different places, and where I have just found it hard to see, air quotes. And the idea of the step out is to outline the steps, and so that way you can learn them, not really have to think about them, focus on one step at a time. All right, like that. And that, like I said, that's an easy thing to think about there. Then, a little rounding. So here, where we ended up our 5s with that little spiral, we're going to just do some rounding. And rounding is just like what it says. Instead of having this big V, we're going to round that off and fill it in. And it's just on those sections. And here, using the takeoff and land concept is helpful. So you don't get like that bump. I want it to look like it's part of part of the design, not an after thing like this one looks like. And then here. That one looks good. There, that's what's supposed to happen. But when things like that happen, then it's like, well, we'll just continue it out and smooth it out. And then actually I'm doing this on all of them, so that way, just a secret to course correction, when you do that, then nobody knows but you. That's our little secret. Okay, so as long as you do it consistently, then then it looks like you meant it. And sometimes, and this is one of the neat things in the Zentangle philosophy, is to embrace something that we think goes awry. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no mistakes, right? But to embrace it and take the opportunity to say, well, let's see where this goes. And you never know. Something really amazing might come out of it. And if nothing else, if you course correct to your liking, there's a satisfaction in that as well. All right, that is it, except for doing a little bit of shading. And I'm gonna mimic what Annette did. And so right here where these lines come together, I'm putting a little bit of graphite, and then we'll just see if we feel like adding some more somewhere else. I had this nice tortillon. It had a nice tip, and I don't know, here it is. I was like, maybe this is it. It just got smushed. It's like, if you can keep one with a nice tip, oh, it's just glorious. All right, and the secret to that is using it on its edge, not like this, because that will mash it down for sure. But I'm sure from the pushing, pushing and pulling, so try to be light with it. And I'm going to do all of these that are at the same angle. And oddly, I should be doing it the other way. Although it worked. I've heard it, I think Rick said, put the tip of the tortillon where you want your want the shading to be darkest. And same thing with the pencil versus, reaching around. But this, because I was kind of pulling it out, it still works. And there we go. That is it. It's a neat tangle. It really is. And I'm sure you can embellish it some more, have other fun with it. Again, take a look at for more inspiration. Like, actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an aura around it while I'm chatting. Um, just because I want to see what it looks like. And I'm sure it will look amazing, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I just want to do that. This is just an added something. I'm picturing, we could have some things coming out of it. But what a neat border tangle. Or ribbon tangle, whichever way you want to think about it. But yeah, super neat. So if you enjoyed this, and I hope you did, would love to have you click like. Feel free to share it. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. I mentioned the description section where you'll find links to step outs. I always do my own version and then link to the originator of the tangle. And then below that are ways to connect with me. I have a link to my website as where you'll find links to information on classes. I do have some links to step outs. I've been working to organize them into different categories. Actually, this YouTube channel is a better representation of that because I've set up playlists, and so then there's just a lot of steps in updating a website. Look at how neat that looks with an aura. Wow. Sorry, I get excited. And I'm gonna add some graphite to the outside of that. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. So if you're interested in those categories, click on my name on like right underneath this video, and that will take you to the home page of the channel, and then you can see all of the playlists that I have. Yeah, and I've added. Whenever I go back to a tangle, sometimes I find that I'm adding it to a new category that I added afterwards. Like, for instance, steampunk. I added that way after because that came after I had started doing this, and so then when I come across one, I'll make sure to add it. It's like, oh, that one should be in this category. Oh, let's add it. So lots of fun. See, look at how neat that looks. Oh, just so cool. All right, shading is magic. Let's see what else. I mentioned classes. I do teach almost twice weekly. It just depends on the week. Most of them are free. I do have two that, actually I have one or two that are paid, and then one that is a club member exclusive. And so on my website, you can take a look at the Tangle Addicts Membership Club if that's something that interests you. And below that, if you happen to be on Facebook, we have an amazing Facebook community, and would love to have you join us there. I will let you know. I have 2 required questions. I think there's like four statements. It's about setting the tone for the group, and I just want to make sure that there is a understanding, because I really hate deleting posts, and I honestly haven't had to do that much of it, so it just helps with that. But I just like to let you know, and I think that's it. So thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.